Tuesday, July 6th, and I will call this meeting to order. If you'd like to please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So do we have any citizen participation? Hearing none.
Second row.
All set.
All set? All righty, Mr. Chris Martin, Town Administrator, what have you got for us? Okay.
Okay. Well, since our annual town meeting, I've had a few things come up. So we're probably going to have to schedule a special town meeting sometime in the fall. First item is we now have another student that is attending Smith Voc instead of Pathfinder. So that is another $18,679 tuition assessment we have to raise for fiscal year 2022. I was notified by the chair of the Board of Health that we use the services of Pioneer Valley Mosquito Control District. We were under the impression it was going to be a $5,000 assessment to join, and then we would be assessed for our cherry sheets in the subsequent years. Mr. Bombardier was notified by this mosquito control district and said, no, it's going to cost us $5,000 a year to utilize their services for identifying, triple E, what's not.
We had this conversation. I remember in depth. We had that conversation.
Yes, we did, and everybody was under the impression that it was going to, once we reported to MDARC, Mass Department of Agricultural Resources, that we would then get an assessment in subsequent years and be taken right off our cherry sheets. Well, I guess that's not true. So, we need to raise another $5,000 for the FY22 services we will be utilizing them for. And then the third item is our Assessor's Department. When the clerk left, the Board of Assessors decided they were going to hire an assistant assessor. And they hired this individual at a higher rate than was budgeted for in the FY22 budget. And I asked why the chair, who was at the annual town meeting, didn't get up and make an amendment, and he just didn't think to do that. So we have to come up with another $20,090 to cover the wages for the assistant assessor for FY22.
So they hired for a position they don't have funding for.
Yes.
That seems a little off.
Well, I think this goes back to our conversation we had that individual groups hire their own people without going through us.
We still have to have funding for a position.
Yeah, and they don't.
Well, we have funding probably till November.
Right. And if that doesn't pass, that person doesn't have a job.
Right.
You're right.
many-
Then we also have a couple of other things. Is I know at the end of town meeting, Rich Domaraki was pushing for the recall bylaw. I'd like to bring that in front of the town because that's going to be a home rule petition. So we'll have to get the town meeting to approve it and then submit it to our legislators for them to submit it in front of the legislature for approval. And I'd like to get that process rolling too.
I agree.
While we're currently working on the new bylaw review committee is working on the bylaws, hopefully we can be doing it in a two-pronged attack and get the state to approve our version and move forward at this point. We also have some stormwater bylaw and regulations that the town has been working through under the MVP program that Jay had gotten the grant for. And they're close, that committee is close to having a final document. that will be brought forward in front of town meeting as a bylaw, and then it has to be incorporated into the zoning bylaws. Okay? So we want to do that, and I have heard that the zoning, or the planning board, is planning on making a change to the zoning regulations regarding private venues. We have some people who, they have a large property, and they now want to hold, well, weddings and large parties to be held there because they have a nice view, and it's a way for them to be able to have a home business. And I know the planning board had some concerns because with large venues, you have a lot of parking, and the neighbors should have some say in what is allowed or not allowed before people just start doing it. And we don't have any bylaws in place to affect
I know that a lot of other towns have that type of setup, so.
that. So right now, so I have 1, 2, 3, I've got 6 topics to bring forward to a special town meeting. Any idea when the board would want to hold this special town meeting?
Not in September.
Oh, geez, that's the one I was picking.
Not in September. I am gone every weekend in September.
It's not gonna be a weekend.
Oh, we're back to Mondays.
We can do it on Monday night.
You're right, we're back to
We
Mondays.
can do it on Monday night, and hopefully we could do it in the East Meadow School because it's air conditioned. It's air conditioned.
In which case I can do any day in September.
You want to do September? August?
August,
Too
people will
soon?
complain because they're on vacation.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right
Did it with them
before.
not being available to attend the meeting.
End of September, beginning of October would probably be best.
Why don't we do it September 20th? That would have been a scheduled meeting for us anyways.
Should we check with the school, see if it's available?
We will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll check with the school before we set the date.
That works.
Okay.
So 9:20 potentially?
Awesome.
I'm good with that.
Yep.
Next topic is, in light of the conversation held last meeting about trying to get offices together and trying to terminate the lease up at the annex, we're in the 3rd year of the 3-year lease. That started July of this July.
Okay.
Does this board wish me to contact the owner of the building and negotiate another lease? Or does the board wish us to look at making enhancements to the old library and moving the offices that are at the annex down to one library, the old Carnegie building?
I would think both. I would see if the old library can fit what it needs to fit to accommodate all those offices. So in doing that too, I'd probably look at, possibly looking at a 1-year lease agreement for that property, because if we say, yes, we'll do something like that, and we can't get it done before June 30th next year, then that puts us in a bind. So I'd like to, if we're gonna do something like that, I'd like to come up with a time frame, make sure that we can have everything done by that date, so they can just move in there.
Okay.
So, I mean, that would be like the first thing, if we could do something like that, make sure that it's available enough space here to do it, but also a time frame and how long it would take us to make that.
When's the lease run out?
June 30th of next 2022?
Yes.
I'm not in favor of signing a new 3-year, that's for sure.
Well, it's up, the owner said 3 years and nothing, is my guess.
Well, I can negotiate that. I don't
Yeah,
think-
we
to be
could.
honest, I don't think our property is in
But I
They've
would
been
like
pretty
high
to,
demand.
I would like to see what we can do about getting them into the annex.
Into the library?
Wow, from the annex into the library, yes, sorry.
That's the first thing we need to look at. We
Is
need
the
to
library
make
set
sure-
up with HVAC, Chris?
Yes.
Yes.
It's all set, ready to go for that, and it's not gonna be
Yes,
Is it a newer
because
thing? It's gonna cost us a fortune to
in
heat
the
it?
last green community grant, we put heat pumps in there, heat and AC.
Okay,
And so there are combination units that are in there now.
so that works.
So it is compliant for that part of it. Right now, Jeremy has this office in there, and I talked to Jeremy, and there's a room up at West Street School that we could have him take over for his office up there. That would have somebody on site most of the week, so maybe hopefully stop having people blowing donuts in
In the field out
the
back?
field out back. And,
Yeah, there's a nice workshop there for him.
yes,
And without the annex, that'll be a savings for us.
because we pay $2,000 a month rent right now.
So we
It's
pay
$24,000.
$24,000 a year. One less, wow, one less property for Jeremy to
Yeah.
have to deal with.
So I guess I'd have to say too, no, we probably have to figure out what it would cost, or have an estimate, what it would cost before the special town meeting, so we can appropriate the funds, because that's gonna be,
Yeah.
Well, last year, we had appropriated $18,000 to do renovations at the library, $18,400. That was not spent on renovations, so that money could be programmed into adapting the building for additional office space.
right, and I'd like to work with the people, actually, the two elected officials that are up there, the annex building, to see what their accommodations are looking for, to make sure that.
Who do we have up there?
needs.
The
We
town
have
clerk?
the town clerk, the town collector,
Somebody
the
else?
assessors,
Is that-
Board of
and the
Health.
Board of
Board
Health.
of Health.
Although if I'm thinking of the space clearly, the library pretty much has the same space, just different setup. I think
Well-
I think Kathy's is the largest.
It's an open floor plan.
Yeah,
So
in
it's
the
all-
Right.
library,
so
it's
yeah,
just
you gotta
nothing
look
open.
at
We'd
it.
have to,
Yeah, but you don't put up permanent walls, you can put up dividers like you do in large office spaces.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, but I want to make sure that we can, again, accommodate what they have now, or what they're going to need. I'd like to have them be part of the discussion as well.
Would you like to have them invited to the next board meeting?
Yes,
Or
I would.
the August board meeting, so you can have that discussion face to face?
I'd like to, yeah, because I'd like to have their input on what they think they would need for their space.
So we'll go for the first one in August.
So this
Yeah,
August
yeah.
2nd?
Because I already have a couple, they have the auditor coming in to talk about our FY20 audit report and management letter. And I've got the lady from Pioneer Valley Planning Commission coming in to talk about the stormwater bylaw and regs. And I don't want to overburden the board on one night, so.
I think first meeting in August is fine.
Okay. All right.
I agree.
All right,
And I
so-
would say too, if for some reason someone can't make it, to, give us their thoughts or suggestions on what may need to be done, or come to another meeting.
So
Yeah, everybody.
are we going to ask the town clerk, the town collector, the Board of Health, and the assessors in for
I
August
think
2nd?
all
Yeah.
All
four
four?
should be
Okay,
invited.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure we were on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next item is complaint. This has to deal with 107 Carver Street. And we have two neighbors that have been going at it back and forth. I received a written complaint from one of the neighbors saying that the town hasn't been responding to their issues. I'd like to set up a meeting with myself, the liaison for a certain department, and to meet with the complainant and find out what the issue is. Because I do know that some of the things that they said are not true. They said we never governed the Board of Appeals decision, and I know Catherine did include them, even though she didn't have to. She did mail the notices out and the decisions out. So I'd like to be able to have one of the board members meet with me along with this
When?
complaint.
Tomorrow?
No, I will.
You let me know?
Give me a few days.
Okay.
Give me like 2 or 3 dates so that I can put it out to the complainant and work around their schedules.
Okay.
Okay, so,
If you guys don't mind, I think I would like to handle that part.
You go right ahead.
okay.
What was that? I didn't hear you.
You don't mind if I step in on that complaint and handle it?
Not at all.
Not
Thank
at
you.
all.
That's what you're here for.
Just checking. Before we go any further on that, does the building inspector have any more complaints out of that where he has to go visit him? At 107R?
The police have been there a few times.
Is that between the two neighbors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The two who were very vocal at the ZBA hearing.
Yes, they were.
Yes. So, and no matter what happens, is you're constantly going back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to try and do something to be able to resolve it. Not 100%, but at least 50%. To be honest with you. Because I'm afraid that if they keep going at it, at some point, someone's gonna get hurt. To be honest with you.
Okay.
All right. Under correspondence, you have a letter in front of you from DEP. We have an administrative consent order regarding the public safety complex. There were issues at that building going all the way back to when it was first constructed with DEP. Permits were not obtained in a timely manner. When we did try and it was identified to us by our water operator, we went out, hired a consulting engineer to come in and do all the paperwork, but that has been a black mark against us with DEP from day one. It has to do with the water softening system up there. Then we had issues regarding the holding tanks that we have up out there. There's another issue that DEP has raised with us, and the issue of the UV treatment system. We have a fine that we have to pay in regards to it, and we have to have signed the document that yes, you have received it, and yes, we do understand that there have been issues, and we shouldn't have any more issues out there. And if we do, they're going to come down even harder on us.
I mean, I have a couple things to say about this. One, why was this not caught when the building was built? Two, why is DEP all of a sudden up our backsides when it looks like this is going back to 2010? So I'm just going to look at C. Within a January 4th, 2012 sanitary survey inspection report, Mass DEP incorporated a notice of non-compliance, which noted respondents' failure to submit plans and specifications of the water softening system. Whose job was it to submit those? Do we know?
That was when it was constructed.
Yeah.
It was never submitted. I have no idea. I wasn't involved with that construction project.
I'm not,
And the problem becomes is, I don't know how it fell through the cracks. I don't know if the architect fell down on it, if it was the construction firm who was supposed to have had the permit filled out, if it was supposed to have been a subcontracted engineering firm that deals with this stuff to have submitted the paperwork, I don't know.
okay, actually, if I read that whole paragraph through before I opened my mouth. Respondents submitted a set of as-built plans, the submittal was determined to be insufficient to fully comply. So did we receive that determination?
Don't know. I wasn't involved at that point. I got involved after it was completely built. A public water supply number was submitted for it, and I've been dealing with it ever since. And like I said, when we get notification from the DEP, like I said, I went out and hired the engineering firm Sanborn Head, to put together the documents, to fill out the proper paperwork for a permit for the water softening system, and submit it and deal with DEP. And I do know that it was approved after they got involved.
Okay, how often do the sanitary survey inspections happen? Do you know offhand?
Maybe every 3 years, maybe 3 or 5 years.
Okay, only because I see that there was a 2012 and then a 2016. I didn't know if there was one in between that, so maybe they're every 4
No,
years.
it's not done every year.
Okay, so potentially every 4 years, because one was January, one was February.
Possibly, yes.
And when was the firm hired to, the water softening, to submit that?
Oh, God. It was whenever, probably after the 2012, so probably around 2013, maybe? 2012, 2013. I'd have to go back and look at my records.
Okay.
And the only reason I know we had to go through hoops to get the specifications in the plan so that he could look and see how everything was laid out so he could properly fill out the permit.
Okay, conditionally approved June 5th of 2019.
Yeah, I saw that. So what's the next step, Chris, on this?
You guys sign it. I pay my fine, and we move forward.
But does that solve the problem?
Are all these issues solved?
They're all solved, okay.
They're not going to come at us for anything else?
Hopefully not.
Well, hopefully it's not,
To the best of my knowledge, everything has been addressed that's in there.
Okay,
okay.
To the best of my knowledge, okay?
yep.
But- So you're confident we could basically go through each one of these conditions, check it off as taken care of, fixed, dealt with, permitted, whatever?
So once it's all permitted, they're gonna send us some check, you're okay, good to go?
No, I would imagine you come back and inspect it.
Yeah, I'm sure more than once now.
See, we have a concern over the UV system because that has been disconnected.
Why was
And
that?
we did, and because the water operator complained to DEP when they came out on their last sanitary inspection.
Yet they
And
nailed us,
we took it offline before they came out.
but
What
it
was
looks
his
like they
complaint?
nailed us for it being offline.
Hmm?
It looks in here like they nailed us for being offline.
Yes, they did. Okay? And so what we did is we hired another engineering firm because the original one we used was too busy. So they recommended another company called On-Site Engineering to come in. So we had them come in, look at our water tanks, look at, because we were kept having issues with bacteria
Yep.
for quite a while, and we couldn't get rid of it. It kept coming back. They ran bleach through it. They sanitized the system. They sanitized the well itself, and we kept having issues. Well, when they created the storage tanks, they put in 2 4,000-gallon tanks, I think.
It's a big number, something like 400, maybe 400 gallons. I think they're about probably about 800 gallons of water stored.
And what happened is the new engineering company, when they came in, says, we didn't need that much storage. Based upon the amount of water that's used on a monthly basis from our water readings that have been supplied, we don't need that much in the storage tank. So they thought that maybe the water was stagnating in the tanks and not draining fast enough, and that was part of our issue. So they recommended we remove one of the tanks, which is what we're in the process of doing now, and only running with one tank. So,
Why do we need so much storage?
I have no idea.
How much water does the safety complex
We don't use a
use?
lot. That's the problem.
I mean,
Versus Lake, we don't.
it's on a well.
Right, but
So-
what it is, I think, is in case the well goes down, you have to have so much capacity until you get the well fixed, I think. I think that's probably
public
what
building.
happened.
A little redundant system. Yeah, that makes sense. I get it.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's in the same.
This isn't my expertise, I'm sorry, I can't really explain it to you, I'm not an engineer, a water engineer.
Get on it, Chris.
Sorry.
Those college days are gone by.
Is
No,
there a
There might
way,
have been a requirement, they might have formula at the time they used it,
Yeah.
but they thought it may need, and
Right.
obviously that's not the case.
is there a way to shift between the two supplies?
No, the recommendation is we actually take one tank out
Yeah.
and go with a 4. Leave it there, but just basically bypass it for now, see how everything works out. This new engineering company thinks that that's gonna take care of all our issues.
But wouldn't the water still be stagnating in the remaining
No,
tank if we're not using
no,
it?
because it's only a 400. What was happening is we had 2 tanks.
Mm-hmm,
Both tanks were full.
yep,
We weren't draining both tanks. So the idea was there may have been bacteria in
Okay.
there because the water wasn't
Yeah, it wasn't moving.
flowing fast enough.
okay.
For lack of a better word, exchanging fast enough. maybe. Like I said, I'm not a water engineer,
There
sorry.
is no way to tell beforehand the usage of water before you pay to have a tank removed or taken offline.
What it is we take daily water readings, okay? Jeremy, that's one of the things we do. We take it here,
Yeah.
we take it at all our spots. We take a daily water reading. Those are reported to DEP, so this new engineering company was able to go to DEP and get that historical data. Based upon our usage, our actual usage, this is their recommendation.
Right, so there is actually something tracking how much is being used.
Yes.
Okay. That was my question, so you
Yes.
know it's.
No, we have to file a report with DEP on monthly water usage at each of our public water supplies.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, on a daily basis, someone goes in, takes a reading off the meter that's put where
Yeah.
the raw water comes in.
That's how they know how much is being used or
Yes.
consumed each day.
Yes.
Alrighty, well,
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
I make a motion that we approve it. Administrative consent order with penalty and notice of compliance.
Is there a second?
I'll second Rich's motion.
All right, is there any discussion beyond what we've already had? Hearing none? Oh, you stopped and said, I said no.
No, I didn't say that.
I
I just
said
need,
no.
approving this, does that approve the $1,000 you need to pay, Chris? Okay,
Yeah, I believe that's what this is.
that's it.
Oh.
Well, if I don't pay the $1,000, then yes, I will have to end up paying $2,500.
But I didn't know if you needed a motion to approve to pay the
No, that's
$1,000.
all, you're accepting the administrative consent order
Okay. That's
as
part
written
of
by
it.
DEP, and you're requiring me to meet all the conditions attached to it.
All right. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You really want a certified cashier's check?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use the town credit card. Me and the treasurer said if they can't trust, if we sent our
That's-
check, a town check to
That's what I
them,
mean.
Yeah.
we would have a problem with it. But to eliminate that potential issue, we'll do it for the credit card instead. Yes.
Ay, ay, ay.
You need 2 copies of this sign?
They didn't say I needed 2 copies signed, so I'm only gonna do one. Because they're just gonna send it back to me electronically anyways, so they don't do any paper.
Your 2 signed copies of administrative consent order with penalties. I'm reading the last page. That's why I asked.
I don't want to read.
Oh, yeah, your 2 signed copies must be
Here's
delivered.
another one.
I've got mine right here. I got one. We'll sign this one. I haven't written on it yet.
Oh, I got an extra copy there. I don't know why they need 2 copies.
Well, because they're gonna give one original
They
back.
never send anything original.
Well, they said they're going to.
Everything's done electronically nowadays.
Well, they said they were going to. So, I don't know what to tell you.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Could be an old form that's not updated as well. Who knows?
Never.
Again, chief, 5 days, it costs us $1,000.
That water system's been nothing but a hassle.
I feel like the
That
pink is
drains.
got cake.
Yes.
You know, with our drains, we have an issue, we have to keep putting a treatment in, otherwise we get sewer floods.
Ew. I could have lived without knowing that.
And if we don't treat it, then they start coming out of the drains.
Oh, God. That's
Honestly.
gross.
Honestly, it is gross.
That's
It really
gross.
is. And there's nothing we can do to get rid of them.
Why
All
is
we
that
can do is keep
happening?
draining. We've had 2 companies out there?
At least.
There are 2 companies to go in, and then we've cameraed the system, we've done everything. And when they camera, yep, they can see them in there.
Can we flood them out?
No, you can't.
The water rats.
They live in the water.
They like
You're
the
really
water.
trying to creep me
They
out,
like
aren't
the
you?
water.
Like, all of a sudden, I don't want my feet touching the ground. Oh,
It's
God.
not the ground level.
I don't care. I'm just... Remind me to never visit
As long
you
as you're not
again.
going to the sewer pipe, you're fine.
Or anywhere near a drain, apparently. Okay, moving on.
Dufresne Park rental, I have one. It's for September 18th, 2021, arriving 12 p.m., departing 6 p.m. It is a family reunion.
Nice.
The maximum number of people is 200.
Big family.
Okay.
That's all I have for that. And then the next one is Board of Health Shared Services. The Board of Health is applying for a Public Health Excellence Grant Program for shared services. They're going to be working with the Northampton Health Department.
Oh, I saw that.
And basically, it's going to, the municipality will cooperate with the lead municipality agency, which is the Northampton Health Department, to ensure compliance with the scope of services for the Public Health Excellence Grant Program for shared services, and use the funds provided under this program only to augment rather than replace current municipal funding for public health staff or services. It's signed by the chair of the Board of Health, and it is requiring the signature of the chair of the Board of Selectmen also, so we can submit it to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health.
When does this grant take effect?
I don't know. All I know is we have to submit the form by July 31st, 2021.
So have they received, as the grant has been issued, they're just applying for the grant with
They're applying.
Northampton?
There is an RFI
Yep.
out there, okay? The town wants to participate in this grant program, so they're putting an application in
Okay.
with the Northampton Department of Public Health. That doesn't mean we're funded, it's just that.
Just that we're applying for it.
The application. Yeah.
We're doing a response to the RFI.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So if you want to authorize the chair to sign,
I'll make a motion to authorize the chair to enter into an agreement with the City of Northampton to apply for the excellent grant.
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, we're on to new business unless you have anything else. Alrighty, so departmental reports. Everybody read them?
Yes.
Alrighty. I noticed one glaring omission in your report.
That's somebody's name?
Somebody's name and title is missing from your recent report.
Today?
The one that was turned in today? Yes. There is no mention of your,
The new appointment,
Just up on top.
it's not in the report.
Oh,
she wants it to act.
I'm sorry, I just,
I'm looking for it, and I'm like, okay. So I sent me on Wednesday, I'm like, G6 was picked up on Friday, what happened on Thursday?
It was a
it's
quiet,
on video.
it was a quiet.
I gotta give you a hard time. Alrighty then, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we
Accepting.
accept the departmental reports.
I'll second Rich's motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Maintenance warrants.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you want?
I never got the hang
You
of
have two
those.
warrants in front of you. Warrant number 78, the amount of $673,103.94. That is a payroll warrant dated June 25th. And then we have warrant number 79, the amount of $153,937.48 dated June 25th, which is the maintenance warrant that goes along with the payroll.
I move that we accept the warrants numbers 79, 78, and
78 and
79 and 78.
Two copies.
2 copies.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion
Is there any discussion?
with one change. From accept to approve.
To approve.
That's all.
I get those words confused too. I have a question. These are fiscal year 21 warrants? Okay. Alrighty, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you got paid.
Nice.
Don't spend it all in one place.
I'll give you a ticket, Cass.
Not even these days. I put 20.5 gallons into my tank the other day. Oh, that hurt. It hurt.
Times 3. It's expensive.
Yeah. Are we ready to move on to appointments?
I'm ready.
Well, the only question I have about all the appointments, have people been notified already that they're still willing to do this? I'm just asking, like, some of the, like, committees and stuff like that. I know we have probably, just want to make sure that we're appointing people that want to be appointed to certain positions.
Nobody has really identified that they don't want to be on the committee.
Okay.
I think that's the way it's always been handled.
I know, but I don't want people to feel, you know, they were appointed for something.
Oh, no, if they have
Yeah.
a concern, they'll call me, and we'll talk it through. You know.
Okay.
Nobody stepped up for the appeals board?
It looks like we have various ones that are almost completely empty that we need help on. Okay.
Well, bylaw review, I wasn't sure what was going on, because I know you would have gotten the names of some people.
I haven't even gotten to bylaw review yet. I was looking at, I mean, we'll get there, but I was looking at, Board of Appeals, Historic District,
Well,
Parks
historic
Oversight.
district, I'm having a little bit of a concern with the historic district one, because in the new proposed bylaws, I believe the recommendation of the old committee was to combine the historic commission and the historic district commission into one board.
Yeah, why are there two?
I don't know, that was before my time. But it was mentioned at one point that, and I know, who was the gentleman who talked to you, Rick, at town meeting? Ben Haley?
Ben, yes.
Ben Haley, who was on the Historic Commission, has submitted to the board about combining the two. But like I said, the bylaw review committee, if you go and look at it under the proposed bylaws, you have a historic commission, and then it goes right into the historic district as paragraph 2 under the new bylaws. So I think they were looking at combining those two commissions anyways.
And then the other one that I had a question on is, why do we still have the West Street School Building Committee? Isn't that done?
Yes, it is done.
All right, so we're not gonna,
No.
okay, so they're just, okay.
Yes, we get rid of that.
All right, do we want to do these page by page like usual?
Or, yeah,
Want to go one by one, Gun?
what's that?
You want to go through this one by one?
No.
We usually
no.
do
No.
page by page.
Page by page?
Yep, that way we have to make a motion on,
Or group by group, so.
I mean, we could group by group, that's a lot of motions.
Yes.
No, I'm fine with these pages, I didn't know where, I'm just looking to see where they separated, that's all.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
There's one group carried over to this page, that's all.
Yeah, so page,
Yep.
so we'll have to stop under Forest Warden on page 2 as one motion, I guess, because then gas inspector's actually on the next page.
I move that we, on page 1 of appointed officials, we appoint them.
Well, let's read them. You gotta read every single name
Everyone,
there,
okay.
Rick. And Dara.
Almoners, Whiting
You can always
Street.
ask Chris to read them too, if you wish.
Huh?
You can always ask Chris to read them if you wish.
Or I'll read them, I don't mind.
I can read them.
Okay.
Almoners, West Street Fund. Richard Lucier, Diane Berry, Barbara Hochschild. Americans with Disabilities Act Committee, Jennifer Crosby and Christopher Martin. Board of Appeals, Jeremy Carrier, alternate member.
We need people for Board of Appeals, so if you're watching and you have a little bit of time on your hands, feel free to contact Chris Martin.
Cable TV Advisory Committee, Gary Benson, Emery Everin, Lawrence Petrus.
Can you stop right there? Have you heard from Emery? Because I don't think he's in the area.
I haven't heard from him since he got off the school committee.
Because he's
But
off,
But I have heard, I thought he was
he's off of
moving to the Boston
GCAM,
area
he's off of
somewhere.
GCAM too.
You know, so I don't know.
So-
I think he might have moved out of town.
Okay. So I guess we can appoint him and then I'll just reach out to him and see if he's out of the area, because I think he is. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Capital Improvement Planning Committee, Joseph Arabic, Robert Chauvin Jr., Thomas Roussel, Wayne H. Tack Sr., and Donald Zabrowski, Chair.
And I just want to interrupt here too. We probably would want to start looking at new members for this too, because I know
For capital
Don
improvement.
Zabrowski, his health isn't doing well. I believe Wayne Tack is starting to, his health, I think, is starting to fail a little bit. So if
Well-
we can get a couple of people who are willing to step up.
I would really like to see new members on a lot of these committees. I know we're coming up onto the Charter Day one, but they definitely need some people to help them out.
But the problem becomes is nobody wants to volunteer for government committees anymore.
I know.
But that's not just for ourselves.
No, it's not, but if we
That's a
want,
nationwide issue.
if we want the
because-
nice things, we're gonna have to find people that are willing to step up, otherwise we're not gonna have the nice things anymore.
And I agree, but the board has to understand that we have issues with that. People just don't want to serve on these.
Well, I think it's they don't have time, I think they're intimidated, I think there's a lot of reasons other than I just don't want to.
A lot of people read in the paper, why should I come here and get yelled at for $0? Okay? Let's be honest.
Some of us look forward to that, I don't know what to tell you.
But I'm just saying, I'm just being honest about it. There's a lot of times, people would want to give, but you find that the general public is so angry that they want to come in and vent on you all the time. That a lot of people, while they want to do it, why would they want to go after working 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, come here, serve on a committee that you're trying to give back to the town, and find out that all people want to do is come and yell at you? You saw that at the ZBA,
Yep.
you know?
I really
It's a
enjoyed the
thankless job.
ZBA. It was challenging, but it was well worth it.
But it's a
I think people
thankless
should
job.
step up. It takes some
Yeah.
reading to catch up on this stuff, but it's,
Yeah, it's just.
I don't know, it's not as scary as people make it out to be, it's
It's
really
not.
not. We rarely get yelled at, rarely, but it happens, but.
Yep.
All right, moving on, sorry.
Charter Day Committee, Jennifer Bernash, Josh Clark, Christopher Dufresne, Crystal, sorry. Richard Gay Sr., Brian Gomet, and Bridget Roy.
Keep
Nothing.
going.
Chief Procurement Officer, Christopher Martin. Commissioner of Trust Funds, Albert Bale, Albert E. Bissett, Barbara Hostile, and Kathy Leonard. Conservation Commission, William Shaheen, David Desolette, Kevin Shoemaker. Constables, Bruce Berry, Mark Johnson, Kathy Leonard. Council on Aging, Ann Boutot, Lillian Camus, Carol Morissette, Carol Zabrowski, Donald Zabrowski, and Julie Duff, Associate Non-Voting Member. Dog Officer, Gordon Landry.
All right, so I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept the appointed officials on page 1.
I'll second the motion.
Affirm.
Affirm the motion.
You affirm the appointments.
Affirm the appointment, I'll get it.
One of us will get it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Actually, his motion is to affirm the appointments. Mine is a seconded motion.
Yeah,
No, I know, but
I'm lost.
his motion should be to affirm the appointments. Mine is
Yes,
still to
yeah.
second. his
There you go.
motion. He didn't say that. That's what Chris was saying. So I said it, so.
You're not
just so clear.
accepting the.
I'm affirming.
You're affirming them.
Yep.
Affirming
Right.
the appointments.
I'm not listening to verbiage, I'm sorry. I'm reading names.
Page 2, alternative dog officer, Tammy Bailey.
Can I hold you 1 second? Is she still doing it, Kevin?
Last I knew, she was not. She was saying that she was too tied up with her full-time job. We called her out a couple of times and she said she was too busy, so we're trying to find somebody else.
So we don't have an alternate dog officer.
Oh, she was your police officer at that time.
Usually it is.
Oh, the alternate's usually
So
a
we're
police
not
officer?
appointing her?
I would say
There's a
no.
saying
No?
that we end
Okay.
up going out and
Oh,
picking up the dog usually.
so why don't we just appoint one of you?
No,
I'm joking.
no, we don't want to do that.
They have enough on their hands to do.
Continuing on.
Just grab them and put them in the car and bring them
All right, so we'll just get rid of alternate dog officer for now.
Electrical inspector, Arthur Kochesney Jr., Bruce Pelletier, assistant, and Richard Rosaza, assistant. Emergency management director, Christopher F. Martin, director. Ethics commission liaison, Kathy Leonard. Finance committee, Richard Jolivet. Fire and ambulance department, interim fire chief, Robert
Chewinski.
Sluzinski. Churwinski. Interim director of ambulance, Robert Churwinski. Call force fire / ambulance, Robert Amlaw. Do I get it?
Yep, firefighter. You're gonna have to read all
FF,
those.
okay. Marissa Bailey, firefighter EMT
Basic,
-B.
basic.
Huh?
That's a basic EMT.
B is basic, A is advanced.
Oh, basic, okay.
No. You have basic, advanced, and paramedic level. They're all called EMTs now. It used to be an EMT and then be called a paramedic.
Yeah,
Now they're all EMTs with the letter behind it.
Okay.
Basic, advanced, or paramedic.
Andrew Balboni, firefighter. Roger Bancroft, firefighter. William
Rachel.
Ragel, lieutenant firefighter, EMT, advanced. Edward Chapdelaine, firefighter. Chad Cordere, firefighter. Ryan Sear, firefighter, EMT, basic. Zachary Sear, EMT, basic. Madison Dexter, EMT, basic. David Engelbrecht, firefighter, EMT, basic. Hannah Edelstein, EMT, paramedic.
Paramedic, yes.
Craig Gagney, firefighter, EMT, basic. Nicole Garify, firefighter, EMT, basic. Brad Harrington, firefighter. Pierre Jake, firefighter, EMT, basic. Aaron Kerdavid, EMT, paramedic. Timothy Leary, firefighter, EMT, basic. Stephen Leokopoulos, firefighter. Alan Leone, firefighter, EMT, basic. Nathaniel Massey, firefighter. Parker Nunes, firefighter. Jose Morales, EMT, paramedic. Riley O'Connor, EMT, paramedic. Brian Pike, lieutenant, firefighter. Austin Plant, firefighter, EMT, paramedic. Timothy Putnam, EMT, paramedic. Michael Swalicki, EMT, paramedic. Alyssa Soto, firefighter, EMT, basic. Ethan Sicard, EMT, paramedic. Valerie Stein, firefighter, EMT, basic. Erica Toya, EMT, paramedic. Raymond Warren, firefighter, EMT, basic. Tyler Warren, EMT, basic. Rachel Weisbrod, firefighter, EMT, basic. Forest Warden, Christopher Zawinski.
No,
Robert
Robert
Chewinski.
Chewinski.
Oh, Robert Chewinski, sorry.
That's okay. You're
Yeah.
you're close.
Question on Chief Cherwinski's. Should we just change those to fire chief? Since we,
Well, he has to be nominated for at least 1 month.
Right, he's like,
or do we put, if we put, oh, 'cause he's okay. So we need to change just his? Okay.
and anybody else who doesn't accept the appointment.
So we're going to need to change the dates on, just his?
Well, his dates are as such, but until he no longer,
When he's not employed, he's gone right off of that title.
he may still want to be the forest warden.
Maybe we
Who
should ask him.
knows?
All right, I will entertain a motion.
I affirm that we approve on page 2 all those officers and persons.
Second, which is motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so now we're on gas inspector?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we do have gas inspector.
Yeah, so we're
Okay.
gonna, we just stop there because they're actually on page 3.
Great. Gas inspector, Fred Marion, George Fotopoulos, Michael McCain. Granby Architectural Commission,
Agricultural?
Commission, Thomas Benson Jr. and William Clark. Hampshire County Insurance Advisory Committee, Christopher Martin. Hampshire Regional Emergency Planner Commission, Robert Cherwinski. Yes?
Committee.
Hazard Mitigation Committee, Robert Cherwinski, David DeRochers, Wendy Luff, Chris Martin, James Tromke, and the police chief.
I think for now you should make it interim.
Interim police
Interim
chief.
police chief,
Interim police chief. O'Grady.
Kevin O'Grady.
Yes.
Historic Commission, Ben Haley, Teresa Johnson, and Terry LaJoy. Historic District Commission, Catherine Morris, William Johnson, alternative member.
Which means we also need people for that one.
Land Review Committee, Brian Hochschild, William Shaheen, and James Tromke. Local Emergency Planning Committee, Robert Cherinsky, David DeRochers, Lee Lalonde, Christopher Martin, Jeffrey McPherson. Police Chief, Interim Police Chief Kevin O'Grady. Local Licensee Agent Earl Brown, Kirk Carpenter, Zachary Gilly, Kendall Hill Manning, Steve Marion Sergeant, Kevin O'Grady, Intern Police Chief, Gary Poehler Sergeant, Jason Richard, Ryan Senecal, James White, and
And you take.
well, we can take
Chief
off
Wishart off.
Alan Wishart off. Municipal Hearing Officer Christopher Martin, Parking Clerk Greg Briggs, Mark Johnson, Assistant to the, and William Johnson, Assistant to the Parking Clerk.
Can I interject here real quick? I know Brian Hochschild has talked to me a little bit. I think he's planning on trying to get off a lot of the committees now too. He feels he's served long enough on all these committees. I did get him through the real estate on a couple that don't take too much time, mainly personnel board.
Yeah,
And, but most of the other ones he wants to get off. I think he's getting into retirement mode a little bit, I think, so. So we will probably need a Board of Selectmen representative on the Land Review Committee. Because Brian represented the Board of Selectmen, Bill Shaheen represented the Conservation, and James Tromke represented the Planning Board.
That's how long Brian's been on there.
Brian's been on for a while.
Wow. All right, so we need to change Brian out with a member, one of us?
I don't know if you want to do one of you, or if you want to find somebody who will represent your interests on any piece of property that's.
Do you wanna join our committee?
To the town.
If we can't find someone in town who doesn't want to do it, we may find someone in town that might be part of it, so.
I'm saying if we don't.
If
do
we
you
don't,
wanna
then
be?
fine.
Okay. All right, so we'll look for that. If not, Glenn has volunteered.
Thank you for volunteering.
All right, Glenn was voluntold. All right, I will entertain a motion for page 3.
I make a motion for page 3 to
Affirm.
affirm all the appointments, yeah,
As amended.
as amended.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye. Page 4, Park Oversight Ad Hoc Committee. Kimberly Myers, Megan Slozak, Kathy Leonard, Associate Member.
So we have 3 spots.
3 openings?
Yeah, we have 3 openings to fill on that.
So, let me ask a question. Some of the boards have alternate members.
Mm-hmm.
Can we ask, or some of the committees, I have to say, can we ask if those alternate members want to become a full-time member? I mean, we have Bill Johnson on the Historic District Commission. So if he just becomes, unless you combine those two,
Bill Johnson will not go to a full member.
there will be a full member. And there's one other person I saw somewhere else too.
The Zoning Board of Appeals, Jeremy is a
Yeah.
alternate member.
I have a couple people in mind for Parks Oversight. Let me,
Jeremy, we had to convince
Yeah, I know we
to
did.
alternate?
be an alternate.
he
Yeah,
wanted
He
all.
was looking to get off.
Okay, all right.
However, with a little bit of arm twisting, and a little bit of begging and cajoling and all those nice words, he agreed to stay on there. With the condition that we continue to try to find full members.
Yes. Is Kathy Bronner still on it?
I have a couple ideas for Parks Oversight, so let me reach out to a couple people and hopefully they'll reach out to you this week to fill those 3 spots.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Park Police, Earl Brown, Kirk Carpenter, Zachary Gilly, Kendall Hill Manning, Steve Marion, Sergeant, Kevin O'Grady, Interim Police Chief. Gary Poehler, Sergeant. Jason Richard, Ryan Senecal, James White, and the Chief of Police. Personnel Board, Christopher Martin, ex officio, Dennis LaFleur, Associate Member. Pioneer Valley Planning Commission Representative, Lillian Camus, Nita Abbott, Alternative. PVPC, Joint Transportation Committee, David DeRocher. Plumbing Inspector, Fred Marion, George C. Fotopoulos. Assistant, Michael McCain is assistant. Part-time officers, Ryan Bartholet, Alan Brooks, Ian Howard, Earl Jorgensen,
Eric Jorgensen.
Eric Jorgensen, and Jeffrey L. Reed. Police Matron, Lori Hebert, Marissa Bailey. Public Library Director, Jennifer Crosby. Public Safety Liaison, Kevin O'Grady, Acting Chief, Interim Chief.
Do you still want that? or
Yes.
Do you want someone else to have that?
Do you want to pass that to somebody else?
Which one is it?
The public
Public
safety
safety
liaison?
liaison?
We
Give
can
it,
keep it for now.
give it
It's-
to Gary.
It's just a, it was for us to get a couple of signs back a couple of years ago for the motorcycles.
Okay.
Things like that. There's not much involved, but that's fine.
Well, if it changes, just let us know.
Yeah, we can change that later.
Right to Know Coordinator, Jeremy Carrier. Town Accountant, Christopher Martin. Town Council, Brian O'Toole. Town Bylaw Review Committee, none.
Well, we have a couple of names that need to get brought forward, but we were trying to get a few more into the mix. So,
Town of Granby Harassment Officer, Chloe Cantor, Christopher Martin. And we'll stop there.
then
I make a motion that we accept the appointment as
Affirmed.
affirmed.
I'll second your motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Tree Warden, on page 5. David DeRocher, Granby Veterans Agent, Michael Slater. Veteran War Memorial Committee, Joshua Bouchard, Robert Chauvin, Jason Richards, Jeffrey Rule, Brian Sowell, James Sowell, and Stephen Weatherby. Western Mass Regional Local Emergency, Christopher Martin, Robert Cherinsky. Westover Metropolitan Development Corporation, John Libera, Jr. Zoning Enforcement Officer, Gregory Biggs.
Question about Mr. Slater. Is he willing to continue?
Yes, because we do have another person, once they retire from the Air Force, wants to be a veteran service.
Okay, so he's willing to continue until that happens?
Yes.
Because I knew he was technically only temporary until we could find someone. Okay.
I've talked to him multiple times.
I just wanted to make sure on that. All right, I will accept a motion.
I make a motion that we affirm page 5.
Is there a second?
I'll second the
And-
motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and that goes for our appointed officials for fiscal year 2022. Yes. Well, they're for 2021 through 2022.
July 1, 2021.
Through 2022.
July to July.
July to July, July to July, yes.
No.
July.
June 30th. Because if it's July 1, then they are effective.
July 1 to June
Oh,
30th.
okay.
No.
Different-
June 30th.
Midnight, June 30th.
Wouldn't it be
Not midnight.
12:01?
No,
Why midnight? Because that's still June 30th.
That's a new day.
actually, midnight is actually the beginning of the new day, July 1st.
It's the first shift of the week.
00 hours is the beginning of the new day.
Maybe I'm just a pessimist. I think of 12:01.
Well, you can think any way you want.
I do.
If you look at midnight shift, you're gonna be late.
I'll second that.
Oh, shush, all of you.
And you get docked too.
Eh, minute late. All right, so now we're just going to do the sewer user fee recommitments.
The new town collector has requested that the uncollected accounts that were committed to the former collector be recommitted to her. And so basically, that's what we have there, a recommitment of warrant number 21-1 in the amount of about $7,622.
And 15 cents.
That was close. I was gonna say 15 cents, but.
You said, if you weren't reading that, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
You know
that's
by
pretty
memory.
impressive. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 28 people are uncollected?
Yes. That's about half, because our original commit was around 14,000 and change.
All right, well, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we
recommit.
will recommit the water sewer billing unpaid balance report
To Nicole Menard.
to Nicole. Yeah. To Nicole Menard.
Well, he doesn't count.
Well, I know,
Yeah, I can't read that.
I'll give him one. You can finish reading it, I'll give him one.
Oh, you already did it.
I think that was the most.
Yeah, there, sewer use fee warrant 21-1.
Oh, Lord, have mercy on our souls.
I'll second the motion.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think one of these days we'll get our motions good. One of them. Alrighty, moving on. Is there any other old business that we'd like to discuss or go over or get yelled at for? No? You got nothing else for us?
I did all mine, if you're trying to.
You got nothing? You got nothing?
I got nothing.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I'll second the motion.